We're finally getting to do Lennon's nursery makeover.
Whew.
Shame on us, it's only been 12 months.
Shame on us. Poor little boy. Anyway, it's going to be more gorgeous than ever.
I know it is, yeah, but in our defence, right, this has been our walk-in wardrobe for the last couple of years. There was clothes all the way around from floor to ceiling. We cleared all that out and then took all the rails down, so I've got a plain white canvas now, and you've been working on the design, so what's going on?
Well, basically I went for something that I think that he can grow with. So I stayed away from all the baby blue.
Yeah.
I thought we'd only probably get a year out of that. So actually, if we'd have done it when he was born, it would be getting changed now, wouldn't it?
Sure.
So something that could grow with him, it's all about nature. Bit tribal, bit of a mixture.
I like it.
Very earthy tones with this like gorgeous, well, I think it's gorgeous anyway, and I hope you like it too because you're stuck with it.
Okay, so they're all the kind of the soft furnishings and bits and pieces you've been kind of creating a mood board with. What's going to be the focal point of the room?
This absolutely gorgeous wallpaper. So as soon as you walk in, it's going to be on this wall here, and that's going to be all the way along it.
Yeah, great, just the one wall.
Just the one wall, yeah.
Excellent, and then painting either side. I see we've got our French chic wall paint here. Whiter than white, that's the ceiling of course, and you've got stone in love. Oh, I like that colour. That'll go well. Where's this going either side?
They're going either side, absolutely.
Either side of the walls, okay. Moon Whisperer, we need that one on the far wall?
On this one, yeah.
Okay, great.
A little bit of contrast.
The moleskin, right, this is the trim paint, so I might do the skirts with that. I think it'll tie in quite well. Blind behind us, that's got to change colour of course, because that was our theme for our bedroom, wasn't it? So that'll be changing to this material. Which
is gorgeous. It kind of almost looks like you're on safari.
Yep.
And you've just turned up a camp.
Great. Now flooring, I did an online how-to video of installing this engineered real wood floor and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. So I knew months and months ago this was what we were going to use for Lennon's nursery floor. So we've got the wallpaper, we've got the walls painted. We're going to have that on the floor and you've got bits and pieces to put up and I can see more of the animal themes going on over there.
Yeah, so all these teddies are just things that he's picked up along the way and people have bought him. I did actually buy these, I think they're Dunelm.
Ooh, love them.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
I think they're
elephants there, Nelly, look.
Fantastic.
Do you like them?
And there's a little kind of story behind this. You are my sunshine. It's what I sing to him every nap time, every time he goes to bed. And it goes exactly with the colour scheme. So
oh, lovely. And he is our sunshine, isn't he? Okay, so I've got lots of preparation to do here. I'm going to sand down these walls, fill in a few of the cracks, and I'm going to start painting. So, leave me to it.
Get on with it then.
Brilliant.
I shall go back to my baby duties.
We'll see you later, Nelly. Yeah? Can we say a cup of tea, Mummy, on the hour, every hour? Yeah.
Okay, Mummy.
I bet I'll be waiting a while for that cup of tea. Meanwhile, while the room is cleared, I can start my preparation on the walls and the skirting boards. There was a few holes here and there. I filled them, let them dry, then sanded them off. Now, because I'm going to be spray painting the ceilings and the walls in this room, I'm going to have to mask up. So I've masked up around the radiator here and also the joints on the pipework. I've done my sockets all around the room. And then we've only got one window in here. So I'm going to start by masking up the edges just with a small piece of tape right the way around the outside bit. And then I'm going to use my larger stuff to cover the whole window and frame. Although this is new plasterwork meeting our skirting boards here, we have had a little bit of movement, a little bit of settlement cracks, of course, with it being a new build a couple of years ago. So I'm just scraping out the old filler, giving it a little bit of a sanding off there, and then I'll dust it away. And then I'm going to add some of my paintable premium acrylic filler right the way in that crack there. And that'll be nice and flexible. And of course, I can paint straight over that within a couple of hours once it's dry. Stone in Love is French Chic's wall chalk paint that Laura has picked for the both sides here. So I'm going to give it a good little stirring up And then I'm going to add a little bit of water to it because I'm going to be applying it on with my paint sprayer. Oh, that's the colour there. It's lovely. So I'm just going to give it a little mix up with my cordless. That's it, still beautiful. I am going to add maybe about 5% water to start with. Now, anyone who's used any of Frenchique's chalk paints before, they know how thick, great quality they are. Really creamy paint, lovely to apply with a paintbrush and a roller. However, when you are using a paint sprayer, you will certainly have to dilute them down a little bit. Give it a mix up and test that on a piece of cardboard, see what it comes out like. If it's a little bit spluttery, it's probably a bit too thick. Just add another small amount of water. Keep doing it till you get the perfect consistency. And now you're ready to start spraying. The paint sprayer I'm using is the Wagner Finish Control 3500 handheld XVLP paint sprayer, and it's quick and simple to use. The key is to hold the nozzle about 4 to 6 inches away from the surface. I normally spray up and down to cover one of the walls, and then once that's almost dry, normally about 10 or 15 minutes, I do a second coat by going side to side. Now, I've spray painted 2 coats of paint on the walls here this morning. It is touch dry, however, it's not dry enough for me to be able to put masking tape on here and now spray the ceiling, because normally I'd leave this to dry for 2-3 days even, and then I'd get my masking tape, run it along the edge here, drapes it down the wall, and then I'd actually spray the ceiling. But I can't because I haven't got the drying time, and we're only close to Christmas now, so I must get it done. So I'm going to have to go back to the old-fashioned way and get the old paintbrush out and start cutting in along the edge of this ceiling, and then I'll get my roller out. Normally, traditionally, when you're painting walls and ceilings, if you're doing it the old-fashioned way with a paintbrush and a roller, you roll the ceilings first and then cut the wall in and paint down the walls. However, when you're spraying, you do it opposite. Now I'm about to paint the skirting boards, and guess what? Laura's changed her mind. Originally we were going to do these in a moleskin colour, but it's a little bit too dark. She thinks it'll be too dark with the wooden flooring that we've chosen because it's a lot lighter, and also the wallpaper on that wall is going to be lighter. So it's going to be whiter than white, like what we did on the ceiling. However, Frenchique make a trim paint. It's ideal for skirting boards, architraves, and even wooden window frames or door frames. So I'm going to use this around the skirting boards. Now, normally I would spray these with my paint sprayer. However, these have had the 2 coats this morning. They are dry, they're touch dry, but they're certainly not dry enough for me to be able to mask up along the edge of there and protect it whilst I spray it. So I've got to go back to the old-fashioned way, the paintbrush. So here we go, Laura, whiter than white. Now, I've got to be honest, I'm a little bit rusty when it comes to using a paintbrush, because as you know, I almost spray everything. However, I'm finding it quite therapeutic if I'm being honest, and if I take me time, it's only a small room, I should do a good job. Once this first coat is complete, I'll leave it to dry for a couple of hours and then apply a second. So it's day 2 on Lennon's Nursery Makeover, and the painting is almost complete. The walls and ceilings are dry, the skirts have only had 1 coat on, but they will be getting a second one. And whilst I'm waiting for them to dry, I'm going to crack on with the wallpaper. Now, the wallpaper that Laura's picked hopefully should be easy to hang, because I apply a pre-mixed adhesive onto the wall, cut my paper, and then hang it into position. I'm going to start by cutting my first piece of paper. I'll measure my wall right up to the ceiling, all the way down to the skirt is about 2.4 meters. Now, I know my papering table here is 1800 mil, so I'm going to run that over one end, let it hang down about 600 plus a little bit more top and bottom. So now when I take that right the way to the end of my bench here, I'm going to fold it at that point, and And if I square this edge of the paper up along here, and I square it up at the back, then when I make that crease in here, it should be a perfect 90-degree angle. Take my scissors and cut that down. Now that's my first piece, of course. The second piece is going to be a different size because we have patterns on here, and the second piece, of course, has to marry into that. So I'm going to get this one fixed into position first on the wall and then re-measure up again for my second cut. Now I'm checking to see if the corner of my wall is perfectly level. I mean, we've just built this house, so it is pretty bang on there. However, if yours isn't at home and it could be stepping back a fraction, you're going to have to measure up here and draw a line on there. So I'm going to do that first. Our paper is 520 in length. So I'm going to make a little mark on here, just a touch shorter than 520. So now I'll take my spirit level and do a very faint line. Now, some wallpaper adhesives come as a dry powder and you have to add water and mix it yourself. On this particular paper, the manufacturers recommend that you use the pre-mixed wallpaper adhesive to hang their paper. Just using a scraper and I'm pressing that tight into the corner where the wall meets the ceiling to create a crease in there. And then I'll peel that off and cut it. And that's a nice snug cut now, right up into the ceiling line. I'm happy with the first piece. I'll do the same and trimming off the bottom at the skirting board now. So I'm going to measure now where my pattern starts here to make sure I've got enough of that on the roll before I take it right down to the bottom. So I'm about 720 there. But I'm not going to give you any sizes at home because your ceiling height may be different than mine, and also your pattern on your paper you choose may be different than mine. Once you've cut your paper, always roll it back on itself just to try and flatten it out. Double check that it fits before you paste the wall. Marry enough, yep, and I've got a couple of inches to cut off the top, a couple of bits to cut off the bottom, so I'm happy with that. I'm going to paste the wall, and then we start to marry these joints up. Just getting my little spatula and my scraper, making a nice tight crease on there. And of course I could cut that down with the scissors or with my trimming knife. Then once you've got your first couple of pieces up, you can continue that across the wall. If you come across any sockets or light switches, you're going to have to paper around those. So apply your paper to the wall, then take a trimming knife and cut from corner to corner, then use a scraper, press it around all four sides and cut the edges off with the trimming knife. So for this last piece, I've cut it to length. What I need to do next is cut it to width. So I'm going to take a quick measurement off here. And now I'm going to mark this and cut it right the way up the length. Cut it down to size, paste the wall and place it into position. Then you can take your spatula and your scraper and make a crease right the way down where one wall meets the other. Then that can be trimmed off using your scissors and quickly wiped down with a clean cloth. So that's my wallpapering now complete for the feature wall. The next job is the flooring. That'll keep you busy this afternoon. Now the wooden engineered floorboarding that I'm putting down on here needs to have an underlay. You can get different types of underlay for different circumstances, from soundproofing ones to insulated ones. We don't quite need all of that because our floor below here has already got the soundproofing aspect in that we need, and of course the insulation value as well. So I'm just putting a standard roll down. It's 1 millimeter thick, it's the gold one, and it's got a little bit of self-adhesive tape on the back, so I'm rolling it out nice and flush up to the edge of the skirting board. I'm going to start by laying the first 3 planks together and clicking the edges into place. Then I'm going to put some spacers, the packers, along both edges of the corner and all the way down the back of one wall. Now I'm going to measure for my first cut and deduct 10 millimeters for an expansion gap along that skirting board. So 434, little mark there. Double check, my glasses on. Square that off with a set square. And now I'm going to cut this down. There's a number of ways you can cut this. Of course you can cut it with a handsaw if you've got a handsaw. A chop saw also would be great for chopping through on there, or even just a small cordless circular saw like this is quick and easy. Now the offcut of that first plank that I cut for that end, that's the rough cut edge. That now gets turned around and it becomes my very first plank of my second row. I've got the 10 millimeter expansion gap on that one end there. The cut edge will get covered with the bead and it clicks into position. And that staggers my joints for me. And you can give them a little tap with your block if you need to. Then you can start to continue putting all the planks in, making sure that you're staggering the joints. Each plank is 130 millimeters in length and they're 14 millimeters thick. And what I love about it is the natural knots, the grains and the tones that you can see in the timber. Now this is the first time I've actually fitted this in our house and I've got to be honest, I love it. It's so easy to put together, this new click system. It's got a groove in one end of it along here and then it's got this nib along there and it just interlocks in really quick and simple. Push it into place, push it up against that far one there. One quick bang with a rubber mallet on one end to there and then you fix and block, just give it a little tap in there and it automatically just locks in and drops down into the position exactly where you need it. When you get to the second to last plank, you might not be able to use your tapping block, so you're going to need to use a pulling bar. Now when you come to your last piece against the skirting board and you're going underneath a doorway, you're going to have to mark up and cut around the actual door frame itself if the flooring is going to set through the door just a little bit, which ours is. So I've marked it up and I'm just using a jigsaw to cut it out. So that's my last plank now cut and fitted into place, pulled into position with the pulling bar. The next stage is to fit the bead all the way around the outside to cover the expansion gap. Fitting the Scotia bead is quick and easy. First of all, you need to remove all of your packs from around here. Then you're going to have to cut your Scotia bead down 45-degree angles so it meets in the corner. But we've got two lengths here. These normally come about 8 foot in length and you want them to meet nice and tight in the corner there. So I'm going to cut them at 45 by using a hacksaw blade and this little mitering block. That fits into that corner. And then you get your opposite one, cut that down at 45. Perfect, just like that. Now, before I fix this into position, what I am going to do is get a roll of masking tape and put it all the way along the edge of my skating board along there. The reason being is both the skating board and the bead will need a second coat of paint. Now I'm going to take a pen and just do a very faint line above the top of the bead whilst it's loose. Then apply some adhesive just below the line. This will hold the bead into position so you won't have to tack or nail it down. Now the reason we apply the glue to the skirting board and not the floor is so the bead sticks to the skirting board, and that allows the floor to move if it does happen to expand at any point. Then where the beads meet, you can cut them on a fraction of an angle to create a scarf joint. Once the glue on the bead is dry, you can apply your last coat of paint. A couple of years ago I built these MDF shelves to store my shoes on. However, I'm now going to refit them back into Lennon's room, spray paint them the same colour as our walls, stone in love, which will give me a perfect storage solution for Lennon's toys.
Oh wow, so he has actually been doing something. Honestly, I just thought he was sort of sitting off, enjoying the peace and quiet away from the kids, drinking tea. But he's done a lot. It looks brilliant. I'm gonna have the cot against this gorgeous feature wall. It's absolutely perfect. And we're gonna have the wardrobe over in the corner and the changing table over here. I think we're gonna have the chair for his little reading corner in that corner or the corner behind me. Not too sure yet. And then we're gonna scatter soft furnishings around after we've got those key pieces in. So let's get on with it. So I've got these really cute animal pictures. I got them from Etsy, and they're gonna go directly above the cot, right in the center of the room on this gorgeous feature wall. There's gonna be nothing else on there because it is so busy, but how cute are they? This is going to be Lennon's little reading corner, and I've used this lovely mustard yellow colour just to add a little bit more warmth into the room. Directly above the chair, we're going to have some floating shelves, which I'd like to display these on. Now, these are special little books that we got when Lennon was first born, and for those who don't know, Lennon is actually named after the legend John Lennon. So we wanted a little corner where they could be nicely displayed. So let me introduce you to Lennon's new pets. This is the elephant and the zebra, and they're going to be going on the wall here. We've also got smaller ones which are going to be nicely scattered across the wall. So how cute is this, adding a completely different texture to the walls? This was actually a very spare of the moment buy. I think I was in Home Bargains with Nellie buying a potty for her. When it caught my eye, and I absolutely love it. Again, with the beautiful mustard yellow, and I think this is the spot.
And my old mate Dave Downings from ITV's 60-minute makeover never lets me down when it comes to blinds. He used to do the blinds on every show that I worked on, and believe me, there was hundreds. He also did them all right throughout our own house and in Nellie's nursery makeover. So Laura, I finally finished Lennon's nursery. What do you think of it?
Well, it's exceeded my expectations. It's just everything I wanted and more. And I have to say, this is just my favourite part. The feature wall is absolutely fantastic.
The wallpaper, you love it?
I absolutely adore it, and the pictures on it as well really complement it, really bring out the paper. It just gives that wow factor.
Great.
Yeah, I think we've just done it exactly right.
Good.
So this is my favourite. What's your favourite bit?
For me, it's got to be the floor. I just love the natural wood look and feel. It feels warm to touch. Yeah, definitely flooring for me.
Feels like you're on safari.
Especially with all the animals around us. I mean, they're everywhere. They are great. He loves them, doesn't he? I think having the depth of these coming out of the wall, and the colours, of course, goes in really well, you know, with our stone in love colour on the wall. And then you've got the textures of the animals.
Yeah, all of the different textures have really worked well, haven't they? And I just love this corner.
Oh.
It's really personal. You know, everything there is about Lennon.
Yeah.
You know, John Lennon.
Yeah.
And also You Are My Sunshine, which is obviously what I sing to him. You don't really tend to sing it, but really just reminds me of him. Everything is to do with him.
And he worked well on the little shelves with his books on.
Beautiful.
Now them MDF shelving, which I know you wanted me to take out initially, they've created good storage space for Lennon's little trays and toys and things.
They have. I mean, I was quite reluctant. I'm sorry, because I did think it might just look like it was a wardrobe and we couldn't be bothered to take them out, which is what I didn't want. However, I have to say, it has worked really well, and you were right.
What was that? Sorry, I didn't hear you. I was what?
I'm not saying it again. I said it once and I won't say it again.
I was right, I think she said. Yeah.
Good storage.
Okay, good storage.
A good storage solution.
Talking of storage, yes, bearing in mind, we did lose our walk-in wardrobe in here. I had all them copper rails on there with all our workwear and things like that. The compromise was I made you a lovely little sliding storage unit right in between Lennon's room and Nellie's. Outside, you've got all your beautiful shelves, your rails, and you've even got mirrored doors on there. Are you pleased with them?
Well, haven't all my Christmases come at once that I don't have to share with you?
And on that note, have you been in the carport lately?
I have. I put my head in.
Okay.
What an improvement.
Because all them rails there, you know me, I don't throw anything away. I recycle them and made myself a huge walk-in wardrobe in there. So I've got all my work clothes, I've got my ski stuff, I've got everything. Perfect.
So maybe now you might be able to learn how to use a coat hanger. What do you think?
I don't even know what a coat hanger is. So that is Lennon's Nursery Makeover now complete. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Or ring the bell for notifications.
And of course, let us know in the comments what you actually think about the room. Tell us what your favourite bits are.
So just Nellie's nursery to update now.